For more on the situation in the Eurozone, I'm now joined from Lisbon, Portugal by Pedro Santos Guerriro, editor-in-chief at Jornal De Negocios. And Pedro, why don't we start with Germany? It's not uncommon to get dire news from the Eurozone, but I hate to say it, it seems like it's always the usual suspect. Greece, Spain, and sometimes Portugal. This time, though, Germany, the Eurozone's biggest economy, saw the deepest contraction since the height of the financial crisis. What are we to make out of all of this?
Well, indeed, the problem is not now the bailout countries. It really are the core countries of the European Union, not only Germany, but mainly Germany, but also Italy and even France are now in a worse state than one that was supposed to do. And why is that? Well, mainly because of exports, and the euro has been appreciating, and so the European goods are more expensive to other countries, but also because Europe itself is very depressed, and now Germany is depressed too, and France and Italy and so on, and it is depressed mainly because you have austerity all over the continent. And if you have austerity all over the continent, and that means that you are not growing in any part of Europe, then you won't be able to start growing. That's what's happening now in Europe.
Well, Germany was always seen as the go-to country. If they're seeing a downturn, what do you see as this for the entire region?
Well, it is a problem because Germany was really pulling all the recession and struggling against the recession in the European zone, and that's very bad news for the Europeans, but also for the Americans. I mean, remember just the President Obama's speech just a few days ago. He was mentioning the problem in Europe, and he mentioned this free trade alliance between the Eurozone and the United States, and that's very important news, not only to Americans, but also to Europeans.
Pedro, we're now in February. This, of course, is a look back at the end of 2012. Is there anything out there right now that would indicate that we might be seeing a bit of a turnaround in the first quarter, or does it still look bleak to you?
Well, it does, I'm afraid. In the beginning of this year, you won't have good news. The economists now are facing a no-growth scenario for this year, and all the prospects just point to a slow recovery on the end of this year. So you won't have good news. Well, not in the beginning of this year. Those are not expected. Remember when Paul Krugman was saying, I mean, just 3 years ago, that this would happen if you had austerity in all countries. Then you would have a recession followed by more austerity, followed by more recession. That's really happening now. What started to be the debt circle has become the death spiral in Europe. And so you have to go to the causes of the problem. You have to have political leadership, and you have to start, struggling against all this austerity. France is being very forward on this speech to struggle against this spread austerity all over Europe.
Pedro Santos Guerriro, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.